So let's start writing our game logic here by implementing our first feature, the model movement. So we will add the possibility to move the model by pressing the arrow keys. And since we are going to write more than one game logic feature here, let's write a game logic function. So let's call this one game logic. And we need to pass our engine parameter here. And let's create a result here. And of course, let's return it. Okay. So the first thing we could add to our game logic function is the possibility to terminate our application by pressing the escape button, because this is logic 2. So let's copy this one and let's include it here. So instead of using break here, we could set our result to -1. So all we need to do now is first to write a prototype here again. This one is called game logic. And then just add our game logic function here. And if you rerun our application now, you will see that pressing the escape button is still working. And what you'll see as well here is that our application terminated with code -1. So let's now face our model movement. So what we want is that our model is able to move either to the left side or to the right side by pressing either the left arrow key or the right arrow key. So what our model needs really are two directions, one to the left and one to the right. So for that, let's jump into our create model function here and let's add two directions. Let's create two vectors now, which will represent our directions. And for that, LunarMath has a variable called vec. And we will choose the D one again, and D stands for double. So let's call this first one left. And the second one, let's call this one right. And since both directions will move the model horizontally, we can leave the second value of each direction with the value of 0. So for moving the model to the left, we would have to decrease the x value of this direction. Let's choose a value of 200. And the other way around, of course, we need to increase the value in case we want to move the model to the right. Okay, let's add these directions to our model. And for that, we need to call engine model add direction. Let's first pass our model ID. And the second parameter is a unique identifier for directions. So this identifier must be unique to directions for this specific model. Let's create these IDs. And let's call this first one left. And the second one right. And here we need to choose another value because right cannot have the same value as left. So let's change this one to 2. Now let's use this ID here and let's pass it as parameter for this function here. And the last parameter for the addDirection function is the direction. And in this case, it's left. And creating the other direction now is very easy. Just copy this one and change the parameters. Okay. Very good. Let's now move the model by pressing the arrow keys. And for that, let's write a function called moveModel. Needless to say that we need our engine parameter here. And of course, we need a result. So what we will do now is to find out if either the left arrow key is being pressed or the right arrow key. And this is very easy because we did it already with the escape key. So let's copy this code here and let's use it here. And instead of using the escape key, just use the left key. So inside this if statement, we will move our model to the left. So you will realize now that we would need our model ID inside this function here. So what we could do now is to write some dirty code, and let's make these variables global. This is not a good practice, and I will talk about this in a future video. But let me tell you this, I wanted to keep this tutorial as simple as possible, and that's really the reason why all of this code is being stored in one single file. Okay, let's move our model to the left now. And moving a model is very easy since we created a direction for it. So all we need to do is to type model move in direction. The first parameter is our model ID again. And the second parameter is the ID of the direction. Okay, and that's it actually. By the way, don't forget to catch the result here. And we should set this one to LE no error. Let's also write a prototype. And we are now able to call moveModel inside our GameLogic function. And let's do it here. I'm excited now. Let's run our application and test if everything works. I'm pressing the left arrow key now, and as you can see, the model is moving. That looks great. Let's do it with the other direction as well. Let's just copy this one. Then we choose SDLK right. And here we will choose right as well. Let's rerun our application now. And let's try to move to the right. And it works as well. Left and right again. Very good. That was fun. Our model has been brought to life, and I hope I'll see you in the next video.